Let's talk about the Oracle Cloud and Apex page. I think I talked about this once or twice already here, and you can find my previous video. The Oracle provides you with always free tier, and with always free tier you have a Oracle database with all the functionality with that OCI database. There is the ATP autonomous database and autonomous warehouse database, and you can just create an account oracle.com/free, and you can utilize your account. You can use this account to build your knowledge, build your exercise, and experiment with SQL and experiment with management of the database. Now, one part of the Oracle database is the Apex page. Apex page is the low-code development for the web pages, and you can very easily have your data in database, and you can use this Apex page to bring this data to life on the web page and share this web page with your clients, with coworkers, to build some tools which allow you to interact with the data which you managed. All right, how quickly we can do this? That today I'm gonna just go over the setting up the database, setting up the Apex page, create couple tables, and bring these tables to the Apex page. Simple, something which you can just start using and start learning. All right, that now let's log into the let's share the screen. Okay, I'm sharing right now the screen after I log in. Okay, let me just. Okay, that you log into the to oracle.com. You log into your account, and the first thing what you're gonna see this type of screen, which you have a lot of links, helpful links, and quick start also with the information, quick video from Oracle to help you out get your feet wet in this environment. And also here you have a Apex application which you can see within like 5 minutes. You can see that video and understand how this is done. All right, and the process is very simple. Once you have your account ready, just go to the Oracle database, autonomous databases, and click create autonomous database. Here you have to specify the database, the display name. This is the name which will be in display. I'm gonna put demo 05, database name, and create a workload type, data warehouse, transactional, JSON or Apex. Those databases are optimized for that specific load, but you can use any database, any type. Now, there is a huge difference between the transactional and the warehouse. Warehouse is the database which is designed, and connectivity is designed to the long-term transactions, like report, where you have to process a lot of data. Where transactional processing the database is more designed to quick queries, and because this is the transactional, this is something which happening right now, and you don't want to leave the users with waiting time. You coming in, coming out. Okay, that quick answer. There is a difference with the number of the connections type between the warehouse and transactional database. Now we can select the transactional database. Okay, serverless, I'm using this as a service, and configure the database. You have here the switch which you can toggle you can toggle between always free tier or the paid version. And like you see here, when I toggle this as a I toggle off the always free tier, that I get the message that my account is limited, and if I want to use, I have to upgrade my account. That this is you have also the message on the tab that you're using always free tier, and if you want to use all the resources, you have to upgrade. When you upgrade, then you have to pay attention what resources you're using, because in that moment it's gonna get accounted against your credit card. If you have to understand this, and you have to manage your resource utilization. If you want to stay with an always free tier, you are free to do that. It's like the name say, there's always free tier. These resources are available for you. Those resources are available to you even after the update. That even if you upgrade, you can always use that resources until up to this always free tier range. Now, the autonomous database, if there is no activity for 7 days, the database will be automatically stopped. If database and then if database is not used, then will be shut down and removed. That you have a 3 months after the database is stopped. You have a 3 months to return to this database and bring this database alive and continue working, and then again it could be shut down. You will have again 90 days time period to start this database. But if you're gonna keep logging to this database on the daily basis or once a week, this database will be active. Okay, the version. Right now the version is available 19C and 23 AI version. Create administrator account. You want to put your admin user. Admin user is the default admin, and now you can put your password. It has to be minimum 12 characters long. Okay, let me just type on the side. Okay, they're asking for the lower capital letters and minimum. Okay, of course you should make this more complicated but it is up to you. Minimum requirement is lower capital and 12 characters. You can always change this restriction in your profile after you create the database and you start managing. The choice network access. You have a secure access from everywhere. Secure access from allowed IP and VCN only, and then private endpoint access. Like you see here, the private endpoint access is shut down because this is always free tier. Always free tier is the public access. If you have a paid account, then you can create a private network. When you create the private network and database in your private network, it is guarded through your private network subnet restriction and access. Who have access, that you have to make sure you get your access to that database. Required mutual TTLS, this is the authentication, and choice license for Oracle Edition. You can bring your own license if you have, or you can use the license from OCI. It will be charged as you go. Provide contact for operation, and an announcement that you want to put your email address here. This way the information about the health, about notification, it will be sent to this email address. And in advance you have an encryption key. You can use your Oracle managed key, this by default, or you can use your own keys, which keys you can create in Vault. Maintenance, there is the patch level, that the database is keep Oracle maintain the database and keep updating. Tools, available tools, which in this database you have everything like enabled. You have Apex, Database Action, Graph Studio, Oracle Machine Learning, Data Transfer, Web Access, MongoDB API. It's disabled here. I think we can enable this later on. But you have a good set of the tools to start exercising and start learning. And once you're done with all the selection, once you set up everything, just click create autonomous database, and within a couple of minutes the database will be created. Like you see, I'm using the always free tier. I have on my account 2 databases. That's why I get the limit of the resource usage. Okay, it's gonna take approximately, I don't know, maybe up to 5 minutes maximum. I never really counted, but just a couple minutes for this database to be created. Perfect. And now the database is created. What are we gonna do now? Let's go back to our Oracle databases and autonomous database, and we will see our database here listed where the green which is available, and now you will be able to connect to it. Okay. What we have on the top of the buttons. At the top we have a database action where we have a SQL, REST, database user, data load, and all view the all database actions. This is the place where you can interact with your database. You can interact with your database directly from here, from the web browser, or you can get your connection and use the SQL developers, for example, to connect to your database. Okay, now I said that we can use, we can download the wallet. Okay, to connect this to SQL developer, you have to download the wallet. To download the wallet, we're just going to database connection, instant wallet. Instant wallet, you have an option for instance wallet or region wallet. What's the difference? With the instance wallet, it is this database. All right, but let's say, like, for example, I have 2 databases here that each database has their own wallet. I can manage the 2 different wallets, or I can get the region wallet. Region wallet allow me to connect to any database in this region. Okay, that now I am in Ashburn, that I have 2 databases in Ashburn. I can download the region wallet, and now I will be able to connect to both databases using the same wallet. If I have a database in another region, I have to manage another wallet for that separate region. Okay, I'm gonna download this wallet and the password. Some application required the wallet password, some not. The SQL developer does not require it, but as they're asking for the password, you have to put here the password. And click download. Testing my wallet get downloaded. Now what I can do with this wallet, and right, before we're gonna go to wallet, let's just finish here. We have a performance hub. The performance hub will allow you to see the actions and performance of this database and see how the database performs. And in more action, we can stop, restart, restore database, create a clone, change the admin password, manage encryption key, rename database, update display name, like management tools. Okay. Now let's cover the connections to the database. That when we create a database, we create a database with admin login. Okay, we have instance. Okay, I'm gonna okay, this is the wallet which I downloaded before, and now let me copy here the file which we just downloaded right now. Okay, what's the difference with this wallet? Let's see. Let's see if I'm gonna bring the region and I'm gonna see the TNS ORA name. Okay, I'm gonna call this region. Okay, in the region wallet you have the list of all connections to all databases which you have in your account in this region. That, for example, here I have the connections for DB demo 04, and then I have an interview database. And that now using this wallet I can connect to both databases. I don't have to manage different wallet. And of course here you will have some encryption and other parameters which Oracle is utilizing. But from the connectivity perspective and TNS names, this is the indicator if this wallet is the region or this wallet is instance. Okay, that we know this. Now what we can do, we copy this wallet to somewhere in our file system, and you see I call this region. Now we can go to our SQL developer, and let's see, we're gonna use this connector, and here you have to browse to your wallet, put the location. Okay, that at the tab we're putting the name of the connections, we're putting what authentication type is, that's the default authentication tab, and then you're putting the username admin and password if you want to use admin. If you create users, you can put your own user and the password. And now you have to select the cloud wallet. Okay, you're selecting the cloud wallet, and now you're looking for the configuration where that wallet is. All right, that you're browsing and you're finding your wallet file. And once you select the wallet, you will see the different databases and different connections. You have a high, low, medium TP and TP urgent. Each connection has a different connection permissions and different connections, not only the permissions but the parameters related with the performance, how many connections, how many concurrent connections can be done. That there is the page where the Oracle describes exactly the details for every connection. And for the ADW, where is reporting, you will see only the high, low and medium. For the ATP you have a TP and TP urgent. The TP and TP urgent usually keep for the application, and for the admin login like TP urgent you want to always make sure you are able to log in as admin. Okay, we can put the test connection and we have a success connect. Okay, fantastic that now we are connected to our database using the region wallet, and here we can browse the database. We can see the table within the admin account, or we can browse for the other users, and we can see the other users here in this database. Like for example, here it's my my account and my tables. All right, this was the quick introduction to get you started with the database. You have database, you have account, you can log in. All right, now let's create a user. How we can create the user and where we can see? Okay, we can go back here. Okay, you can, as you connected as an admin, you can use the create user command and grant the permissions, or you can come here to the management GUI and go back here with your database user list. This is gonna bring the application to manage and interact with the database. Okay, and for example, we're gonna create today the new user for our Apex application. We're gonna call this okay, I'm gonna call this Apex demo 8.17, And I'm gonna put the password for this database. Sorry, for this user. Okay, and let's say I want all those parameters enabling graph, web access, and OLM. Actually, I'm gonna just use the Apex for this user, but I want to use everything. Okay, and now as this user, we can connect to the database with the two ways. We can utilize this user as like a web browser, and you can use the web tools to connect to database and interact, or we can utilize this user also using the using our SQL developer. But now let's say we have this connections. I'm gonna just like duplicate this connection. I'm gonna type here Apex demo 817, change my username here and change my password for this user. Okay, I'm keeping the same region, and I can do the test is successful, save and connect. Okay, perfect. I have, in that situation, I have my Apex user created here, and for example here we can create a new table. Let's say demo 01 ID number, and let's create another column, description. And some kind of value varchar. Okay, we can put the description, for example, for 100 and then value 100. And let's call this as a C config. Okay, that we have in the C config, we have some kind of ID value, which I want this to be a primary key, then description and value. And I can put some data, let's say one description, site URL, okay, let's say I put the site URL, my site.demo, and let's put the second sample page. Okay. Okay, then now we have a message that the user has insufficient quote on the tablespace data. Okay, now we have to go back to our user, edit, and set the quote. Okay, this is something which, yes, usually I forget, and later on I have to come back to this. And if I'm gonna save again, okay, the volume is actual, the size is 23, maximum size is 20. Okay, that, ouch. That, as you see here, we want to actually a little bit modify this table and put 200. Okay, let's try insert one more time. Demo site and number 2. Okay, I just created some demo tables, some values just added just to be, and we're gonna utilize this this value to display in the Apex page. Okay, again, this is just a demo, something simple. You can create a table. You can use, let's say, ChatGPT to ask to create a table or code to create a sample of the data to insert. Whatever you're working on, you can build your database, and again, you have a 20 gigs to available for you to exercise with this data set. It should be more than enough to get you started. Okay, now next, where are we going with the Apex? For the Apex page, let's go to the beginning to our DB demo, and here we have a Apex instance. We're gonna log in and launch Apex. Okay, the first thing is we want to create, we're going to the admin. Okay, and we're gonna create a new workspace, a new schema, existing schema. Okay, I'm gonna utilize the schema which I already created for the user Apex demo 8.17. Or in this process, you can create the schema. Okay, schema is the user. Okay, in Oracle database, every schema is the user. Okay, there is no differences between users and schema. And now we're gonna take Apex 8.17. And workspace username, I'm gonna utilize the same name, and password, I'm gonna utilize the same password for the beginning. Okay, perfect. Now I create the workspace. Now let's sign out, return to page, and we're gonna utilize the workspace username and the password. Okay, perfect. We are able to log in with our Apex demo account, and we can build the table. Okay, we're gonna build a new application. Okay, create a new application. Name Apex demo. Okay, by default, the process create the global page, home page, and login page. Let's say if we're going to start the application, run the application, let's see what we will get. Okay, we have the login page. Okay, let's see if our Apex user will work here. Okay, fantastic. We have our user working. We have only home. The home is empty. Perfect. Now we want to be okay. Let's see what is in home. Okay, home is just the plain page, empty page as we saw. There is nothing here. We can add some text. We can add the static text, or we can add some reports. Okay, now let's review those parameters here. Okay, I increase I think it's better visible. Okay, that now what we have here, those are all the elements which we can use and add to our page as a page builder. We have avatar, badges, breadcrumb, calendar, cards, chart, classic report, column toggle reports. That there is a lot of those elements which you see here, which you can use to build your website to be interactive. with user based on your data set. I think for the beginning it's good to start from like classic report. What I'm usually using, I'm using the classic report and interactive reports. I think those are the two things right now, the menu which I'm using to just build some support page which allow me to display the data for my application, for whatever I'm supporting to the users, and display them the way that it will be more meaningful and more helpful for them. Now let's see how we can build the classic report and how we can build the interactive report. What's the differences between those two reports? Okay, then now let's go to our main application and create a page, and I'm gonna call this classic report page. We're gonna use the classic report. Okay, and when we're creating the page, we have a normal modal dialog drawer. The normal it is standard on the page. The modal is gonna display the modal in the modal form. The drawer, I think the drawer is coming on the side. The data source, you have a local database REST and REST data source, REST enable SQL service, that based on the service where you want to connect, you may utilize the REST services. Of course, you have to have access to get there. And if we're talking about the private database, and if you want to use the REST, make sure the database is able to access that endpoint, REST endpoint through the DNS or IP, wherever it will be configured in that request. Okay, when we're using the local database is related to this user where that workspace is created. That now, that Apex page, if you have a user is that workspace, right? There is the workspace and Apex user. Those two are completely independent users. Now, the Apex, the workspace user is where you have to pay attention. The Apex user is just the user who is logging in, okay? But workspace user is the user who actually have to have resources and permissions to access the data wherever you want to display. That you may have your Apex user as this workspace user as primary user, where you have the application, and then you have multiple other users, and then you can access those users. But that workspace user have to have access to read the data from the other users to bring them here. We're gonna play around with this that you can see that as well. But right now, let's just build our first data, the first page. What we have here option to just use the table. Now you have a table in that case for the user, and now you can select the table. Okay, we just create our cconfig table. That's one way. The second way is to use the query. If you have a more complicated report and the table is not the option to display the data, you can utilize the views, that you can put your query into the view and bring through the view, or you can put the query directly here and build your database with the query. Okay, that for now I'm gonna use the table. Okay, and the additional options, we have a breadcrumb. Do you want to use the parent? Let's say, okay, I want to use the home as my parent. Navigation, yes, I want to have navigation preferences, new entry. Okay, I'm creating the new entry, and parent navigation to menu. I can put this, let's say, under home, or I can put directly under main menu. Okay, let's say this page I'm gonna put directly under the main menu. Okay, and create a page. Okay, perfect. Now the page is created, and when we're gonna run, we see that we have a description, we have a value. That this was the quick way to bring the data to the Apex page. Of course, now you have a more advanced options. You can build this different way. You can build the interactive page, this and that. Right now, the part of the classic report just bring the values. It's creating the sample table structure, nothing fancy. You can just like sort. That okay, yes, we have a sort that you can sort up down that report. Now, what's the difference is between the classic report and interactive reports? Okay, let's go back to our view and let's create a new page, and here we're gonna create our interactive. We have interactive grid and interactive report. We're gonna use the interactive report. And let's call this report. We're gonna use the normal. Okay, include the form page. Okay, we can add the form page. The form page will also allow us to add the data, and I'm gonna call this cconfig. Okay, I'm gonna call this form cconfig, and it's set as a drawer. And here we have a local data table Apex, and let's use the config. Next. Okay, let's go back. We have a navigation section. But okay, we're gonna put here as a no parents here for the breadcrumb. Navigation, create a new entry, and no parent navigation, no parent. Okay, next. Primary key and primary column key. Let's see the description. Okay, and what we have here? Okay, now we have our interactive report, and we see, okay, we see the value here. Actually, we can edit the value. That this is not actually what we want, because actually we want to have a description. The ID is our primary key. Okay, let's go back to our designer, and you know what, I'm gonna scratch this page. I'm gonna create the second page for now, and then like we can see we can modify something here. Okay, interactive report version 2, include the form. Okay, now every page, every element have their own unique number. Like you see here is the page number 6, this form, there is the page number 7. And we have a cconfig, create, okay. And okay, I have ID here. I'm not selecting the second, and let's create. Okay, version 2, and let's run it. Okay, perfect. Now we have our interactive report, and we have a description, and we have a value exactly what we need to have. Yes, we want to have a description as some kind of unique key that when we query the description, we getting the one record and one value. But here on this one, we have right now as my primary key is just ID. And let's see if I'm gonna create. Let's put description, site meta, demo data, and let's see if we can create. Okay, cannot insert null into the ID config. Okay, now why we have this error? Because when we create the database, the ID column was set as just ID that you have to enter. That now in this form, you will have to have this value. But Oracle have right now the functionality to make this column as the auto incremental value. Let's see how we can make this setup. In the older versions, we have to create the sequence, and then on insert make the call to next val for that sequence and include that sequence into the code to make the insert. Right now with the newer, I think it's starting from definitely from 19. I don't know which version before had that functionality, but 19.21 it has a functionality that you can set this as auto incremental value. Okay, and let me just find this detail. Okay, we have this query that let's just, okay, I have this, and let's say the data, I want to just take this and export. I want this as an insert. Save. Insert. Okay, next. Finish. Okay, we have an insert data. Okay, number generator always as identity starts one increment by one. Okay, let's see how this gonna work out. We're gonna drop table. Okay, table it's dropped, and now we're gonna create a new table. Okay, table create, and now we have those insert, the same previous insert. Let's see here our table. Okay, the table is empty. And I'm not gonna insert the ID value because this is how our page will work. Okay, one row inserted, let's commit and let's see. And we have a 1. Perfect. And now let's see insert the second value and commit and go back here. And we have a 2, that this auto incremental value is working the way how we're expecting. That now we can come back to the page, and let's see if we're gonna create. Cannot insert into generated always identity column. Okay. I think we're creating this page before with the different values, and now we cannot insert. Probably when we're gonna generate this third time, it will miss that column. Okay, let's try generate this because we're learning right now this functionality, and we can see how this will work with auto incremental values here. Okay, let's create the page one more time. Okay, we have a version 3, include the form. Okay. Okay, perfect. The page is created and now we can run. We have a report, we have those are two values, and now let's try insert site meta. And the data is inserted. Okay, that like you see, the Oracle Apex is working very closely with the table structure. We did the changes to the table structure, it get error, and the initial form v2 form was tied to the table definition what was before. Now we increase with the we change the ID to auto incremental value, that now when we create a new report, that report create the form, but that form did not use the ID as an insert, because the insert is auto generated. That this is help for us. In the couple minutes we are able to create interaction with the data, where you can display the data, you can allow people to modify this data without going to the database. Okay, now when we're coming here to database, we have 3 records, exactly what we expecting to have. Okay, now this is the basic, just get you started with Apex. Now when you get started, you know what you can do. We're gonna go through each application. Sorry, not each application. We're gonna go with the next sessions through each elements and see how we can utilize those elements to build them on the page, what we can do to build our application and make this application nicer. Post the comments and post let's say some idea of the application which we can work together to build this up and bring this to life. Of course, here will be some kind of like the login page, designing the page, making this nicer, that there is not just the data interaction with the data, but also some kind of nice look and feel. Okay, now we cover the topic of the database and building the Apex, but we are the administrators. Now the very important part of the administration of the database is to take the backup of the database. How this is done in Oracle ATP. Now in OTP database, okay, let's go to databases, autonomous. When you scroll down, you have a backups link here. The backup is created automatically, that as long as you have a database, you can always roll back to that backup, and you can you can roll back to that backup. Let's say right now I'm working on this database, I drop these tables, drop this user, I can roll back to this backup where that user was available, this tables was available, and I can utilize this backup to recover and rebuild. Okay, to do this we can just click restore, and that will restore the database up to this point, or create a clone. This way it will create another database, duplicate this database with this from this backup. That is useful just when you're working with always free tier. Pay attention for your resources. You have only 2 databases to use, that you can exercise with this model. Okay, that's the one part. Second part is to create. Okay, this is good because this is the part of the Oracle. It is built in and it's there. But in the sense of our situation where we're using just the autonomous database, and that database can be dropped after some time. Okay, there is 90 days, there's 3 months. That I think is enough time for you if you keep using this database to learn. But let's say you forget about this and your database will delete it, and then one day you wake up and you think, oh, I have something good over there, I will be good to have this. What we can do, we can set up the export of this database to the object storage, and then when you have this file in object storage, later on you can use this to restore this file from the object storage. Okay, that is the two-step of this of this exercise. Let me just bring this. Okay, the first thing, we have to set up our SQL Plus on the server. Actually, okay, even there we have to set up the server. Now, what will be the process here? Okay, let me just bring this maybe live and sorry, not this page. And let me just insert a new page here. Okay, what we're talking here. We're gonna have a server where we're going to use export DP to export database. Now, when we're running the export DB, then database create a backup file in local file system. All right. But now we need to move to object storage. Okay, those are the three steps which we're gonna utilize right now to build this process. Okay, that we're doing the export in database, then database export create the backup file in local file system, and then we have to move that file to object storage. Okay, the export DB you can run on your local computer. The same. Okay, you download the SQL Plus and SQL Lite and export DB packages, and you can use the wallet which you just downloaded before, and you can make that connection and create that export. You can do this remotely from your laptop, but I like to actually utilize the server. The OCI provide you also with the IRM server or AMD server. For this purpose, AMD server, it's easy and simple. The same like IRM, just the problem sometimes with IRM is that you may be able to create or not. AMD server, most likely you will be able to create. I didn't have a problem yet with AMD. Now you're creating the instance. Okay, let's go to compute. Okay, to create the server, you have to first create virtual cloud network. That click create a VNC, fill this form to put the name, put the CDAR block, and create your VNC virtual cloud network. Once VNC is created, it's gonna have a standard setup where you will have the moment, not this. I need the VNC not in the app. It will have a public and private subnet, and then you will have a routing. You will have a security list. There is the video in the Facebook page. On my Facebook page, Facebook group, which talking into details of how to create VNC, how to set up the servers. Right now I'm going very quickly. I'm not going into the much details how to create. The point is that we want to create the server. This way the server is running there. We can set up the cron tab. The cron tab will run every single day, and we're gonna have always the backup file. Okay, that we create this subnet, we have a permissions, and then we're going to compute instances, and we create instance, fill up the name, define the placement, which right now this for one, and that doesn't matter, wherever it gonna get created. The shape, you can leave this as default, especially it's Linux 8 and micro eligible for free access. This is the important if you're using the always free resources. The VCN information, this is the important because you want to select this into specific VCN, that you have to select which VCN you want to use it and which subnet you want to use. You have option to private and public. Only you have to understand, if you're gonna put this in private, then you don't have like direct access to that server. You don't have a public IP. You have to use, for example, load balancer to pass data through. Oracle is also provide the Bastion server, which you can utilize also to jump to your private networks. Private winning IP address, you can leave this as automatic, or you can set this manually if you pay attention to or you care for the IP addresses. And the most important is SSH key. You can download the key which is generated right now for you, the public and private, or if you have already pre-generated the key, you can pass your public key here. Usually I have my own key already generated and I'm passing that key here. We can attach the block volume, we can specify the custom size of the volume, but again we're using the always free tier that usually I'm leaving this as is. And then click create. Once you fill up this form, click create. It's gonna take approximately 5 maybe to 10 minutes to create the instance, depends on the available resources. ARM server, I'm getting often the failure for resources not available, but check and see if you can create. If you create the server, ARM server, my suggestion to you is to keep that server, do not delete that server. Later on you may not be able to create another server. That's my experience so far. There was the time which was fine, and then I had a lot of times where I struggled. Okay, let's say we create the server. Now once we create the server, we log in to that server, and with the default login, you log in as OPC user. Okay, and now as a PC user we have to install the SQLite that I prepared here a little bit a process that we just creating the install, going to install, we downloading all the zip files that I'm downloading, the instant client, basic SQL plus and tools, and unzipping the unzipping. I think that unzip didn't work perfectly, that I was going with an unzip every file here. Then I'm creating the wallet and I'm creating the folder for instance. Once I have everything unzipped from those 3 files, I copy all those 4 files to my instance folder and creating link to latest. This way, if tomorrow I gonna change to the new client, I have to just change the link to the latest to that new location, and everything else wherever I'm referring to I don't have to change because it's gonna stay as is. Okay, now once I create this, I have to create my Oracle profile that I'm adding the Oracle home file, I'm adding library, I'm updating the path, and I'm creating the TNS admin pointing to wallet, and then exporting the important parameters. And now once I execute my profile right now, or I relog in, my profile will get activated and I have access now to SQL Plus. Now the time for the wallet. I'm taking that wallet wherever I just downloaded from the Oracle. I take that wallet file and I have to copy to USR local Oracle wallet. This is my location, preferable location, which I like to use. I copy this file to this location and unzip that file, because in SQL Plus SQL Plus required the regular files, does not using the zip file, or maybe it's using, and I don't know. I'm using the unzipped files. Now, one thing which we have to modify is modify the SQLnet. We have to add the directory where our wallet is. That I'm using this echo commands to create my SQL file the way how it's supposed to be created. And now I can cut the TNS name, and then I can log in to the server and see how this is working. Okay, I took you through the script and show you how this is done. Now let's see this in action. Okay, so the user local Oracle wallet, and here we have our TNS names. Okay, I have here my region. Sorry, I have an instance wallet because I have only one database here, and that SQLnet file it's pointing to this directory. That now when I'm executing my command to login, etc profile. Alright, I am able to log into the database. Perfect. And okay, now I want to perform the export. Let's talk about the export now. Okay, to create actually I don't have to create those because the files are not done here. There is the two steps. Okay, now the first step in this approach, we're going to create the dump file. All right, that now I'm using the export DP, executing this on the server, and this is gonna create in data pump directory, which is the default and is available on this database. It will create the export file. Okay, okay, we see we make the connections, and now we're doing okay, identify system DBS plugs must be declared. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Okay, I remove the parameter transportable always, and now the export is going. Okay, this is the export of the full database. We can export and target a very specific database, and then exercise how this gonna work for us, if the export of the full database, or if we want to just export very specific database and then import also very specific. Always from the export of the complete export, we can import only specific database to the second database server which we want to restore to. Waiting for the process to finish. Okay, as we're waiting here for process to finish, what is our next step? Next step is to create object storage and move the file to this object storage. Okay, that we're creating the buckets. Okay, DB backup archive. Okay, standard. I have gonna keep as a standard. Okay, pre-authentication request. Okay, the way we can create this on the two ways. We can create the user and then create the authenticated request, or we can create the pre-authenticated request. The pre-authenticated request is there is the URL. With using that URL, you will be able to put in or read depending what permission you're gonna add. Let's say I'm gonna create the pre-authenticated request. And I'm gonna call this, okay, bucket demo db backup bucket create request that apply to all objects in this bucket. Okay, I'm gonna put everything, and I'm gonna put the right, because the way how right now I want use this request and put this into my command that I can upload the data here to this. Right, and now you can put expiry, a couple days, or you can put expiry longer. Right now the expiry is by default 24, that is just 1 week forward. After 1 week this request will expire. Okay, now I have my request. I can utilize this, I can use this request, and now my next step. Okay, I'm waiting on the second screen. I still see the export is going. Now we can go right now here to the database and we can log in as admin, not to this service. I'm sorry for the smaller screen. Okay, we are right now as an admin. Okay, the file is completed, but now as admin, where is this? Okay, let's close this. Okay, we have this connection as admin, and now we can do the select on the database pump directory. Okay, and what we see here that we have a couple of files which were created, and especially this file looks like this is the file which is recently created, and it's a big file, right? And this is our complete dump file. Now, one thing also which we want to do, or we can do, instead of creating the complete backup here, we can just create a backup for that schema. And let's say I'm gonna create just one more file for that schema. That should be much quicker. And as we waiting over there to finish, we can query, and we can see that we have this Apex demo log file right now created. Okay, we need to write a header block of file invalid argument. Okay, I had some export, that command was not perfect, but the point is that you have option to do the complete backup or partial backup, everything. And then I think also this has to be, you have to pay attention to the size of this and see based on your resources utilization, right? Okay, this seems like the 60 gigs backup. We have a 20 gigs, then maybe this file is right now too big, we have to remove. Okay, but now let's say we have this file. Moving this to the object storage. Object storage has a 10 gigabyte that we may not be able to push this file. That but we can try. Okay, how we can pushing the file to the object storage? We're gonna utilize this command. Okay, let me just make this. Okay, we have to utilize the DBMS Cloud put object. We have a put object, delete object, that we have a functionality from the database to work with this data files. Okay, now we can try execute this command and see how this will work. We need to have a first credential defined. Even we're not really utilizing this, but we have to have defined. Okay, and now we can try running this command. Okay, the process completed successfully. That now we can see, we should be able to see this here. And we have our export file. It's taking 15 gigabyte. I think actually the limit here is 10 gigs, but we are able to fit 15 gigabyte file here. That's why it's better to just export probably just your schema. This way you working with that specific schema, and then you're saving that schema, and then you're managing your resources. Okay, don't go over because if you're gonna go over, the Oracle may just remove the resources wherever it's going over.